authority and establish respect in people. That's why he accepted sannyas. And then, if you go through Chaitanya Charitamrita, the various examples how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually very, very strict with his, just one point before that. But he accepted sannyas from whom? Keshav Bharati, who was a Mayavadi, who was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. Bharati, the name Bharati indicates that that he was initiated into the Shankara order of sannyas, because the name Bharati is one of the 10 names given in sannyas, Darshanami. Bharati is one of the names given. And if you remember in the previous chapter, there was a discussion about what's the higher and lower order of sannyas. You remember this? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, "You're only Bharati," which means lower order of sannyas. I'll initiate you to the higher order of sannyas. Saraswati, that's the best, that's the top. That was in previous chapter. So he was a Mayavadi sannyasi. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a Vaishnava, Krishna Bhakta, and takes a sannyas from a Mayavadi. So what's this all about? There were different rules at the time that, and you can see in this aspect how, technically this is called orthopraxy, meaning the right action. It's more important than orthodoxy or the right belief. For example, Madhvacharya also took sannyas from a Mayavadi, but he preached his own thing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the same thing, just to gain authority for his cult of bhakti, for his way of preaching. So he took sannyas from a Mayavadi, but didn't care about what he was saying. Actually, in Chaitanya Charitamrita it is described that first, in a sannyas initiation, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu whispered the mantra into ear of Keshav Bharati, and then actually he initiated him, and then Keshav Bharati repeated the mantra into ear of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So just for this technical, just to, on the outside, to appear good, to gain some authority, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas from a Mayavadi. There's more into this, but I just want to go with this point. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu behaving very, very strictly as a sannyasi. And to some point you can see almost very harsh. Because he says, that's in Madhya Lila, he gives an example. A sannyasi must behave in an exemplary fashion, just as a black spot of ink cannot be hidden on a white cloth, remaining very prominent. The moment people find fault, a little fault in the behavior of sannyasi, they advertise this like a wildfire. And this was said when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya tried to persuade Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to meet Maharaj Prataparudra. And Maharaj Prataparudra was king of Orissa. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sannyasi and renunciate. Said, "No, I won't see him. Seeing him would be like drinking poison." Yeah. Seeing him would be like drinking poison. I'm a renunciate, and people must not see me associating with kings and politicians. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, "But he's a bhakta. He worships Jagannath every day. He's a bhakta. Surely this doesn't apply for him." He said, "No. People will say, and then the rumors will spread. So I must obey this. No, I won't meet him." Then eventually arrangement was made how they meet. When Maharaj Prataparudra took off his dress of a king, dressed as a Vaishnava, recited some shloka from Bhagavatam, then they met. So it's very strict. A second example is how once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was together with his servant Govinda, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard somebody singing in a Jagannath temple, verses from Gita Govinda, from Jayadeva Goswami, very nice verses. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wow, immediately start running. And as he was close to embrace the singer, and then Govinda said, no, it's a woman! No, it's a woman! And then said, oh! He immediately stopped. And Chaitanya, you saved me now. Because again, he was a sannyasi. No. And the third example, which is very, very harsh example. This is example of Chota Haridas. Chota means junior, or that means there was a senior Haridas. He's not mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chota means junior Haridas. So Chota Haridas is one of the members of Chaitanya's group who used to sing for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was coming to a certain Bhagavanacharya, and Bhagavanacharya wanted to cook a nice meal for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he didn't have good rice. So he asked, okay, Chota Haridas, go to Madhavi. Madhavi was a very old lady. And it is mentioned she was a devotee, Parama Vaishnavi, supreme devotee, pure devotee. And Bhagavanacharya asked Chota Haridas, go to her and beg some rice. And Chota Haridas went, begged the rice from Madhavi, this old Vaishnavi, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Bhagavanacharya for a meal. They had a nice meal, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired, oh, it's such a nice rice you cooked. Where did you get such rice? Chota Haridas was begging. Oh, where did he get it from Madhavi? He said, what? Renunciant speaking with a woman? Completely chastised him. It's very, very harsh. It's very harsh because she was very old, and he only did what he was asked to do. He didn't just go whimsically, like on his own. So he just, and it's an interesting thing how, in this, I found a nice verse. It says that in this world, that in Chaitanya's Lila, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had 3.5 most intimate associates. Do you know who are these 3.5? Because it's 3.5 most intimate associates who know him most dearly. Ramananda Roy is one. Swarup Damodar. Shikhimaniti. And the other half is Madhavi. Yeah. So she was such a dear associate of Chaitanya, but still, because of this social thing, as Prabhupada would say, unfortunately, you have to follow this custom. So still, he was ostracized completely. And and then actually he said, from this day on, don't allow Chota Haridas to come into my association. Don't allow him to sing anymore. Completely cut off. And the devotees was coming, why? And they were, but it's such a minor thing, it's not a big thing, please allow him back. Chota Haridas started fasting. And this was going on for 1 year. For 1 year. Then it's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chota Haridas had enough of all this, went to Triveni, committed suicide, and that was it. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, after Chota Haridas committed suicide, okay, please invite Chota Haridas to come back now. But it's explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita that after committing suicide, which would actually be very sinful, like in a way, sinful on its own. But because of these special circumstances, Chota Haridas attained the body of a Gandharva and started to sing to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day. And eventually other associates would hear Chota Haridas singing. So we have these 3 examples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being very, very strict. Very, very strict. Like when I read this about Chota Haridas, wow! Can you imagine if you would apply this today in ISKCON? Who would stay? Very harsh. But then there's the other side of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being soft. There's a verse which I think I forgot the Sanskrit. Prabhupada often said this verse that a preacher, a magnanimous person, is soft as a flower and harsh as a thunderbolt.